welcome to Rock Your Block. I'm your host, Tia Young, and my co-host is Miss Yetti Esatu, Remax agent and former guest on the show. Yetti will also launch her own cable television show in the months to come. Today we are going to talk about the partnership between real estate agents, loan officers, and title officers when it comes to purchasing or selling a property. Our special guests are Ms. Jennifer L. Ploutis, owner and title underwriter for Central Title Company, and Ms. Elva Bustos, senior loan officer for Lion Bank. Ladies, welcome to Rock Your Block. How are you today?
Thank you.
Sure.
Well, thank you so much for pulling away from your busy schedules on a Friday to come and spend some time with us. I'm very grateful to you.
It's great to be here.
Good.
Thank you.
Well, we got tons of questions, and I don't even know if we're going to get to all of them, but we're going to get started. Yetti, let's start with you, and then I'd like the ladies to join in. Okay. How long have you been in the real estate profession, and what were you doing before real estate?
I've been in real estate for the past 16 years, and I've been in the IT field before I became a realtor.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Been a loan officer for the past 12 years, and I've been in the insurance business prior to that.
Okay.
I've been in title for 18 and a half years.
Wow.
And that's probably all I know is real estate and title.
Okay. Can you go a little bit into some of the services and products that you provide to your clients? And we can start with Elva.
Yes, working for a bank, we provide mortgage loans for home purchase. Mm-hmm. We offer a variety of products, FHA loans, mm-hmm. VHDA, USDA for rural homes. We also do loans for veterans, and our niche is also the first-time home buyer market.
Mm-hmm. You said something, I used to work for USDA a long time ago, and so you've got special loans for USDA?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, they do offer loans in the rural area,
mm-hmm.
100% financing.
Wow, that's great. Okay.
Well, we offer title services. Well, we're a title company, so we are the last bit of the transaction. We do closings for refinances, purchases, commercial, residential properties, mm-hmm. and offer title insurance.
Right.
Yes.
Well, Yetti, I know that you're the co-host, but I want to hear what you have to say too about the services that you provide.
The services that I provide is real estate purchase, and real estate listings also. Mm-hmm. When clients are interested in selling, they contact me, and then that's the two services.
So you can work on the side of the purchaser and or the seller.
Yes.
Do you ever have opportunities to have you work on both sides?
Both sides, and also when investors or any primary residence owners, when they try to rent their property, I also market their property for rent.
So you're doing rental?
Yeah, rental, sell, and then purchase.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Well, you know, I am so glad the housing crash of 2008 is kind of behind us. And I know things were really bad for a lot of people. A lot of things happened that they just couldn't help. And, you know, the credits and things like that just became horrible. How did you ladies survive? Because it looks like all three of you survived during that period. Can you share a little bit about how, let's start with the title officer.
Well, we found that actually, even with the crash, there were still closings because property value fell so low that there were investors kind of flooded into the market. So there was more of the opportunity for the cash buyer. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what kept us around and alive in 2008.
Right. Did you panic when it first started?
Certainly, absolutely, obviously, yes. Yeah, I mean, it was a global effect. It just didn't happen nationally, so yeah.
Right.
But we kept afloat, and it's been great ever since.
That's good. Elva, what about you?
Same thing, you know, as one type of market crashes, then other opportunities come up. So that's when I specialized in the first-time home buyer market, a younger generation, mm-hmm. or recent comers, you know, needed a loan, and I did work with a lot of government and down payment assistance programs. Okay. So that helped. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was tough, but even now, you know, that's probably the market that moves the most, the first-time home buyer market.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, Yetti, what about you?
Well, when the market crashed, I tried to take some courses on how to do short sales, and I specialize in that area. And I felt very responsible to clean up, the mess in my industry. And then I started advertising as a short sale specialist, and I get a lot of leads out of that. And I start helping homeowners, getting them out of the situation,
crisis that they were in.
The crisis that they've been
that we're in.
Yeah.
Well, I talk to a lot of people by being a host, a television host, and just a lot of the jobs that I've done. It's always been working with tons of people, and the two things that I hear more than anything else today is that the customer service is like at an all-time low. People feel like they're just getting telephones, and if you don't say the right thing, then you have, well, I didn't understand that. Could you repeat that? Or they take you through 6 or 7 different telephone clips. Before on hold. What is your personal commitment in your customer service like? How do you feel about that? Is that something first that you think is first and foremost in your business? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I think customer service is kind of the key right now into earning business and keeping it and having repetitive business. I find that keeping in touch with the clients, taking their calls, replying to their emails, being responsive is the biggest thing. Communication is very, very important.
Right. It's almost priceless.
It is.
To have
it
that.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Elva?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. It's hard enough to get, the phone call ringing or the client to the door or in your office. So definitely my business is all referral based. So I make sure that my clients are satisfied with my service.
Yes.
Being there for them, educate, inform, and give them the extra time that they need.
Yetti, what about you? Because you probably are with your clients a lot, sometimes 24/7.
Yes.
From the moment that they come in and let you know that they're interested in purchasing,
Yes.
it's almost like you become like a sister, a big sister, then maybe a mother to some,
Yes. Yes.
if they're young enough.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about customer service and about personal commitment to your clients?
That is a key thing, and it's very important to be there for your clients and know what exactly that they're looking for and what exactly they're trying to achieve in the process. So I'm always there and educating them and answering their phone call, just like Jennifer said, and responding, to their email, and make sure that they really achieve their goals.
Right.
So
when your customers, and this question can go to all three of you, when your customers come to you, are they pretty savvy, or do you have an educational gap there where you have to bring them up to speed, that they don't really understand the title process?
Right.
Or they don't really understand the banking process, to know that you've got rules and regulations, and while you try to help everybody, sometimes if you fall below whatever level is, you might not be able to help them at that time. And the same thing with you. People never bought a house before. They don't know what to expect. How do you handle situations like that? Do you approach it with an educational component with your clients?
yeah, with my real estate sale and purchase, yes, I do have outlines that I have to go over with each and every client that comes to me.
Okay.
So I make sure that they understand the steps that they are going through the process, everything.
that's good.
So that is the information that I give them out, and I make sure that they know what's the next step before it happens, so they won't be surprised. So they're well aware of everything that is going, forward.
Right.
So I educate them and
Right.
inform them. Yeah.
So Elva, I know that a lot of times banks have, years ago, maybe not so much now, kind of got a bad name because sometimes they were seemed to be so stiff and kind of cold. A lot of people felt like, especially people that are first-time home buyers and they don't know the process, maybe they're kind of young and they're not your average person that comes in to do business with a bank. How do you make those people feel comfortable?
And that's where the loan officer comes in. And yes, there is a good portion of the market where they're completely new to the process, or first-time home buyer, So yeah, the communication and education is key. Because that's how successful you will be in the end. The more they know up front is better for the transaction to be successful. And throughout the process, let them know where the process is, so they know exactly what's happening, and they're not panicking and stressing about it.
Right, that's
Yeah.
good.
Well, you asked something very important earlier about the consumer and what type of consumers are we seeing right now, and I feel like the answer to that question is just a mixed bag.
Yeah.
We kind of get both. We kind of get the affluent ones that seem to know your veteran buyers, and then we get also your first-time home buyers that don't know what's
anything.
next.
Yeah.
So I actually enjoy working with both of them. I love to answer questions. Since I've been in the title business for so long, and I have great friends in the industry. If they need a realtor, I know who to pass them on to. If they need a particular loan product, it's really nice to know what the loan officers that I work with have to offer. So if their first stop is us as a title company to call us with a question, then I kind of know where to refer them. But generally at the closing table, we're pretty much the end-all be-all of the closing. We consummate the whole transaction. So we tell people whatever questions you have, or if you want to know what's next,
Right.
let us know. We give them a utilities list because they generally need to call their utilities company.
Right.
That's what's next after closing. You get your keys. It's a fun event. So
Right.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, you're in a unique position because you're the owner of the company, but you also roll up your sleeves and
That's
you
right.
actually work.
Absolutely.
How do you balance those two roles?
That is an awesome question. I kind of ask myself that every day. It's you just have to get in there and get the job done. If the job requires that you sit with people and do their closing, then that's what it is that day. And if it's taking a call and explaining something a little outside of someone else's understanding, then help with that as well. And I enjoy it. You have to love it to do it. So.
Do most of your clients, when they come in, do they know that the boss is sitting there
They
as
don't.
well as they don't?
They
you don't know that.
They don't. No, a lot of people don't, but that's okay. I don't mind it.
How many people do you have on your staff?
7.
You have 7 people on your staff. Okay, very
right.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yetti, what about you?
Well, I do get both of them. I mean, educated client and the one that do not know
Right,
anything at all.
right.
So for all of them, I mean, all kind of clients, I always love to educate each one of them in the area that they do need education.
Right.
Because everybody needs certain things that they don't really have it.
Okay.
And they need help.
Well, Yetti is going to take us into a break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about things like credit, the 5 C's, and some of the other things that people need to know about.
Well,
So, Yetti.
Tia, it's time for a short station break, and we will be right back shortly. Don't touch that dial.
Okay.
We cannot approve the loan until your wife goes back to work. I'm sorry.
Housing discrimination isn't always obvious or straightforward, but it is against the law. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, protects your rights to equal opportunity in housing.
If you've experienced housing discrimination, HUD can help. They can pursue compensation for your injuries and protect your equal opportunity to housing free of discrimination.
Thank you for joining us. You're watching Rock Your Block with our special topic on working efficiently and effectively with real estate agents, loan officers, and settlement officers when purchasing or selling a home. So the questions that I want to bring up now is one of the main things that people have problems with is a credit. Because things happened 8 years ago. I mean, I know people who were 6-figure people, and overnight, they either lost jobs or properties. It just went crazy. And sometimes it's a husband and a wife in a family would not have the funds that they were accustomed. What do you do as a team, as individually and as a team, to help these families that have credit that is not the best? And I'll start with you, Elva.
Yeah, thank you. By now, I mean, most of people that had credit issues due to the past events in real estate have some credit, some reestablished credit. But the ones that do need help are mainly like just getting new credit cards, just helping them, build credit. So when they come to me, I give them a plan for the next 3 to 6 months, so they can, accomplish, the need or will to buy a home again. And we work with agencies or other business partners that can help them with that.
Okay.
Yeah, but initially the consultation, yes, it's done one-on-one, and like I said, typically by now they're pretty much halfway there already.
So things have gotten better.
Yes, and
a
have
lot
gotten
better.
better, yeah.
Yetti, what do you do to kind of help when people come in and you can tell, are they pretty honest about their credit, or do you get surprised?
To be honest, the home buyers, they do not know what kind of credit score they have until I send them to a loan officer, and the loan officer pull their credit history, and then they see, where they stand.
Are many of them shocked, or are they pretty much?
A few
shocked.
people, they get shocked. I mean, they say they have the best credit, and when they go there,
Right.
it's
There are
totally
things on the
different.
report that they didn't even know
they didn't
was
even
there.
know. Yeah, so
that's good.
once they get to Elva, that's when we find out, where they stand.
Now, Jennifer, I don't know if yours is as much of a credit issue with the clients than something on the title.
Right.
Maybe that people didn't know when you do a title search.
That's right.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Certainly. There are times where when we pull title, there's a judgment or an IRS lien, perhaps even an extra mortgage or a credit line that was unreleased, things like that, deficiencies in the title that we have to take care of. So whether it be a problem that resulted for a purchaser, whether it be a judgment or a lien that they may have to take care of in order for us to insure the title, or even the seller, that sometimes may be a little hiccup in the transaction. But that's where we come in and we guide as
Right.
far as, is this an issue? And if it is, how can it be resolved?
Well, if it's an IRS issue, could that be a deal breaker for somebody? Maybe it's got a
Absolutely.
$50,000
Right.
lien that they didn't know about.
Absolutely.
It
Sure,
is a
it
deal
could be
breaker.
a deal breaker if there isn't enough money in the deal.
So in a case like that, how would you guys as a team? How do you work through that?
It just depends. If
Yeah.
it's one where the seller can't pay, there isn't enough proceeds to pay off, or the buyer can't pay or hasn't paid, then it sometimes can be a deal breaker.
Yeah.
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 Yetti, any comments on that?
Well, sometimes when people really, fell in love with the property, they don't mind paying somebody else's,
Okay.
debt and then take over the property.
Okay.
But you don't see that much,
Okay.
in the situation.
Let's talk a little bit about the roles once you get to the title table. Help me understand the steps. I'm not sure that the loan officer has to be at the title table or not. I don't know. I guess once you package everything and you send it to Yetti, or you send it to the title company. You send it to the title company, and then you let Yetti know that the loan has been
We
cleared
have the
to close.
closing documents. We're ready for your buyers to come in.
Okay.
Or sellers.
So talk to us a little bit about that process and how you guys work together.
So once the loan is approved, now with the new regulation, we have to send the final numbers, the closing disclosure, 3 days prior to closing. So that's the time where I actually review the numbers with the buyer, the purchaser, and we send the closing documents to the title company for signature the day of closing. Yes, and when clients refinance a home, I attend to closings, occasionally, not always. In purchases, I meet with clients mainly at the office prior to closing. So by the time they go to sign documents, the agent and the title officer,
Right.
conducts the transaction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm review, because even that day I review, or the bank is responsible of reviewing that the numbers are accurate. So I'm always reviewing that the numbers are correct.
Right.
right?
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so your role is making sure the numbers are right, making sure the loan is in place
Yes.
and ready to go.
Yes, that the money has gone and everything is, yeah.
Okay, and then your role is getting your client to the table, and so can you add more to that? Is it more to it than that?
Well, I follow up before the closing, like 2-3 days ago, with Elva, how everything is going, and is it gonna close on time, or do we need extension? Because if I don't really extend it on time, if it needs to be extended, the purchaser will lose his earnest money deposit. So my job is just to make sure it happens on that day that we said, or if it doesn't happen, make sure I protect his money by extending it at the right time.
At the right time.
So I constantly communicate with Elva.
Okay,
and Jennifer.
so
also.
now we got the money. You've done your part, making sure that now we're on the way to the title company, on the way
That's
to.
right.
So when we get to you, Jennifer, then you're in charge. So
Right.
what happens at the table
Right.
with you?
Well, we sit at the table with the client. We've got their closing documents from the lender. Generally, the realtor comes, a Yetti comes to all of her closings, and we explain the terms of the loan and go over and make sure that the client understands and they're one and the same as what they understood them to be. And we have them sign off on all the documents. We explain title insurance to them and tell them how it protects their ownership, the legal title to the property. And, Yep. And go from there. We notarize the documents, collect their funds, and disperse the funds as required.
Right.
Yep.
Well, there's a lot of papers to sign.
There is.
I've been to a couple of closings, and I mean, it's like you are signing your life away.
That's
in
right.
So many papers, and you think that it's a 15 or 20-minute process,
It's
but
not.
I mean, you could be there for a couple of hours. On the low side.
Sure.
You could be there that long. Well, we've kind of talked about a lot of the good things that can happen, but I know that sometimes there are catastrophes that happen. What are some of the things that have happened to you guys? And it can be in your individual disciplines. How did you resolve it, or were you able to resolve it? And are there times when the three of you or the two of you can work together to get something through?
Absolutely.
I like our viewers to hear some testimony.
Absolutely.
Let's start with the real estate agent here. What kind of things can you testify that?
It happens to me today.
Oh no! You heard it live.
We've been communicating regarding the situation, but certain numbers didn't work, so I've been communicating with Elva, and we're still working at it, and we decided to extend it a few more days.
Okay.
So that way he will not lose his earnest money deposit.
Okay.
And the closing will take place maybe in about a few days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was the client receptive to that, or were they disappointed? Or?
Clients are always disappointed.
Yeah.
And even though you explain the process, what it takes from the start to the end,
Right.
but sometimes
they're
something
excited.
like this happen, and then
Yeah.
it's hard for them to accept it and just
Yeah.
move forward and work on the problem, solving it.
To where you do
solving the
give them a
problem.
hug. Is that a hug moment?
Is that a hug moment? Down and say, this is, it is a very interesting profession, and I tell them that you need to calm down and work on solving the problem only. Don't worry about the problem. I mean, this happened. We cannot control what happened.
Right.
But how can we solve it?
Right. How
And
can
then
you
I
move
give
forward?
them a few ideas, and after I discussed it with Elva, and then he feels much better now.
Elva, what about you? Have you had anything that you can give as a testimony?
Yeah, in the lending business, there's always situations where we have to face that. Either it could be like, after we receive title binder, we find out that there's an IRS lien that increases the debt-to-income ratio. That might affect the qualification. And sometimes clients are not even aware of things, that we just find out. So, I have learned that through issues that sometimes it's just best to deliver the news, wait for them to process the news,
Yes.
and then they're after a day or so, they're more ready to, solve or help with the solutions.
So staying calm
Yes.
seems like.
Yes.
That's the,
Yeah, because the emotional side is always the buyer.
Right.
So we have to be the ones that are, steady, stay firm, and just be there for them.
Jennifer, what about you? What story can you tell?
Okay.
She's part of this one.
Well, yes, I am part of this one, and so we are. I find that from our end, we're open to schedule closing pretty much any time the lender's ready. So if, for instance, the loan that we're speaking of right now becomes approved on Monday, and the buyer can only come in at 5 p.m. or 7 p.m., then we make it happen.
Yeah.
And
So,
that's really important.
Yeah, and I think that's very important, is to have that, to be able to be receptive, in this day and age, in this business, is to work past 5.
Right.
Some people don't care to do that. but-
Right, that's true.
Yeah,
That is
but
true.
this is how we assist in those situations. Yeah.
Well, ladies, I want to thank you so much. You've been so informative and so willing to share the good and the bad, the whole thing. And I love the attitude that you have about customer service and about caring for your clients. I mean, you take it to a personal level, and I appreciate hearing that, and I'm sure our viewers will too. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
having us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, our time is up, and we have certainly enjoyed and appreciated the expertise of our panelists. I'm so thankful that the real estate market has turned a positive corner, and we wish the best for you on your next real estate transaction. Thank you for watching Rock Your Block. We will see you next week right here on Channel 10. Have a safe and productive week. Bye-bye.